here, and I'm back with another video for Ophelia Talks. And today we are making a lovely flower which we will turn into a keyring, but you can use it to decorate the bag that we made last week. So a couple of weeks ago we made the buttons. I am really loving these buttons. They even have something to attach them with. So then when I'd made the button, I thought, why not turn it into a flower? And I love this flower. This is the kindness flower. So all these are videos really worth for you to go and check them out, okay? And then while I was designing this one, I have to admit, I did think, can I make a double flower out of this? Can I do 2 rounds of petals? And the other day I sat down and I did just that. So here we have 2 rounds of petals around our button, which is going to serve as the center of our flower. So for this you will need your hook, of course. This is DK yarn that I'm using. I'm using the Spring Garden color pack from our website, so do go and have a look at that. It's Starcraft DK, so I usually use a 3.5 for that. I have, of course, a darning needle and some scissors. Now, if you want to just make the flower and use it for decoration, you don't need anything else. You can just attach it to whichever object you want to decorate. But if you want to turn it into a keyring, then I would suggest getting some of these hardware things to attach to it, and then you can attach it to your keyring. Now, I have added the leaves to the keyring holder because obviously the bigger it is, the easier it is to find. I was too eager here to add the leaves to it before I attached it to my bag, but you can put the leaves on there as well. I think they're a nice addition. So let me show you how to make all of this. Now, I will show you how to make the button again. I like to keep my videos, sort of as a whole, so that everything is in there, but it is worth me showing you how to make the button because you need to finish it with a certain amount of stitches this time, because of course our petals need to work out, okay? So what we do for the button is we roll the yarn around our finger, and I have lost count, so I'm just going to do it like this, okay? About 10 times normally. Then you put your hook under, you loop the yarn around whichever way you can, bring it through, and then go back to the yarn again whichever way you can manage, and you do a single crochet. We do it like this so we don't lose the circle that we have made with our yarn, okay? So this way you've got 1 stitch there, and that will help enormously in keeping that circle alive there. Then you are going to get started with doing more single crochets around your wound yarn. Is this the end that's coming out? It always misbehaves when I'm doing this on camera. Unbelievable. Yeah, that's the end. Okay. So I'm going to just cut this off because I don't know where that would go otherwise. Okay, so we're going to very carefully make sure that we place single crochets all around our wound yarn. So I placed my single crochets nicely next to each other. It doesn't matter how many you've got here, just in the last row, okay? So not to worry too much here. So now we go under the first V and we do a slip stitch. Now I'm going to make a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to make the first cross across. So I'm going to turn this over, go to the opposite stitch from where I am. Is it this one? Is that straight enough? Yeah, that's fine. And I'm going to just connect it with a slip stitch. Now I'm going to get started again with doing single crochets, and we're going to go all the way around, placing them nicely next to each other. And when you get to the chain here, just move it aside and start working on the other side of it. There we go. And voila, I've gone all the way around. Find a V to go under and do a slip stitch closing your round. So this is what my little flower center is looking like at the moment. So now we're going to do a quarter of the way with single crochets. And I realize you need to just practice a little bit to make your strands all nicely the same tension and things, but I think it's a fun little project to try again and again, so I didn't mind trying it a few times. So here we go. So we've got 1, 2, 3 and 4 chains now, and we just turn it, keeping the chain on this side. We make a cross, go across from your stitch there and do a slip stitch. Voila. So now we have created our attachment, the way we can attach it to a project, the way we can attach our keyring to it, whatever, but you don't have to use this. It's always good to create it just in case you can use it. If you don't want to use it, for example, I did this one, I sewn this one on. I started with going under these strands, and then I also used some of the petal backs as well, so that it is really sturdy on there. So whichever way you can attach it is fine, but as long as we create these little chains and the little cross, then you can use it, of course. So now we're going to do another round of single crochets, but this could be our last round, and we need to end with 20 V's on the outside of our work. And of course, if you count, you've got 4 sections. So if you do 5 stitches in each section, you'll have 20. So that's quite easy to do. So let's see if we can do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There we go. Then we go into the next section. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's have a look over there. That's fine. Okay, so I've got 10 stitches. Into the next little part here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, last section here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now before we do the last one, we're just going to count. So if we count this one as our first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So now I need to do a slip stitch for my 20th. So I'm going to go under the next one and do the 20th as a slip stitch. So I now know I have 20 V's going around the outside of my little button of my flower center here. Now I have to admit, this is a larger hole than I would like. All my other ones have worked out with smaller holes. It's the, you know, the curse of the video, I tell you. I am going to use it. It doesn't matter all that much. Now it's time, of course, to cut off the yarn, pull out the loop. There we go. And we're going to sew in the end into the button itself. So that's out of the way. So what I tend to do is just go into these strands like so and get rid of the end in that way. Voila. So starting with the petal color, I'm going to make my slip knot, insert my hook, and now we are going to pick up the button. This is the back of the button. We need to turn it over so the front is facing us. We're going to be looking at the stitches on the back, and we are going to be doing a sequence of a certain amount of stitches for our petals. And the first of that sequence is going to be a slip stitch. Now the slip stitches in this round will be done in the front loop only. So if we take a look at the V's that we have of our stitches, this one here is going to be the front loop. So let me just show you. So we're going to be picking up, let me show you here, voila, this strand here. That's the front loop, and what's left behind is the back loop. And we are going to pull up the yarn and then pull it through the loop on our hook. Now we're going to use another 3 stitches for the first petal. So each petal will use 4 stitches because of course we are making 5 petals. So now the rest of these 3 stitches that we're going to use for the first petal, we are going to just pick up the 2 strands. So you yarn over and you go into the next stitch, and of course you're picking up the 2 strands. There we go. And in this stitch you are going to do a half double crochet, and you're going to add a double crochet to it. So in the first stitch we're doing a half double crochet and a double crochet. Then in this next stitch we are going to do 3 treble crochet. So that means yarn over twice into the next stitch, and of course picking up the 2 strands. We are going to create 3 treble crochet. So yarn over twice into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And we are going to be adding a 3rd one to that. There we go. Then in the next stitch we are going to again pick up the 2 strands, and we are going to place a double crochet and a half double crochet. Voila. And that is our first petal made. Now to get started on the next petal we're going to repeat the same thing. So we are going to get started with a slip stitch, but that slip stitch needs to be in the front loop only. So we pick up, can you see it? There we go, the front loop only. Okay, so this one has not been used, that's the front loop. And we bring back the yarn and we do a slip stitch into the next stitch for a half double crochet, a double crochet, and then in the next stitch 3 treble crochets, and then in the next stitch for a double crochet and a half double crochet. Voila. And we've made our second petal. And so this is what you're going to repeat another 3 times, and I will see you at the end of the row. So I've made it all the way around. I have made my 5 petals, and here now of course we just need to close the round. So I'm going to go back under that front loop of that very first slip stitch, and I'm going to do another slip stitch. There we go, and that closes the round. So now I'm going to cut off this yarn because of course we are going to be using another color for the next round. What I've also been doing is just pulling this end to the back like so, so it looks pretty on this side. There we go. So now when you turn over your flower, you will notice there are 5 back loops that you have not used. And of course, yes, this is the round where we are going to be using those. Okay, so let's get on with the next round. Slip knot, insert your hook, and of course we are going to be using those back loops. So find one of them, go under it, and then do a slip stitch to get started. Voila, attached to that back loop. Now, for this one here, I did 4 chains. For this one here, I did 5 chains. So I like the 5 chains better because my petals come out a bit more. They jot out more. These ones are too much under the first petals. Okay, so depending on your preference, you could do 4 or you could do 5 chains. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chains. Then I go over to this next location here with that back loop, go under it and do a slip stitch. Same thing again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, onto that next back loop only. And it's easy really because that's all you can see now. So under there, bring back the yarn and do a slip stitch. There we go. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And of course you're going to repeat this 5 times until you have your 5 loops. So I've now done my 5 loops. I just need to connect the last one to that first back loop that we have here. Go under it and do a slip stitch. Now, to get started, I'm going to go and do another slip stitch around the first chain here that we did so that we are in the correct place. Now we're going to get started by doing 2 double crochets, but of course we need to get the height first. So the first 2 chains here are going to count as my first double crochet. Then we do the second double crochet around the chain. Now we're going to do 3 treble crochets around the chain. There we go. Then we're going to do 3 chains, 1, 2 and 3. Go back into the first chain and do a slip stitch. There we go, we've made a little picot. And now we're going to work our way back down again by doing 3 treble crochets. 1, 2 and 3. There we go. And then of course we do our 2 double crochets. And you should have enough space on this chain to do all that. If not, just scoot them about a bit. But look, this is what it will look like. And I think jotting out this amount, I think it's perfect. That's going to make a really nice flower. So now we are going to go and do a slip stitch around our own chain and then a slip stitch around the next chain. So we travel to the right place. And then we're going to do the same thing again. Chain 2 for the first double crochet, a double crochet, then 3 treble crochets, 1, 2 and 3, a picot, 3 chains, slip stitch into the first chain, and now 3 treble crochets again. I moved them across a bit so I have more space to work my stitches. 1, this is the second one, and this is the third one, and then here 2 double crochets and a slip stitch to finish the petal. There we go. And of course this is what we are going to continue for the next loops that we have here. So I will meet you when you have done your 5 petals. So I've just done my last petal, doing the slip stitch of the petal, and then I'm just going to do a slip stitch into the other chain there just to close the round, and there we go. So we have made our flower around our button, and yeah, I really like it. And of course you can do whichever color combination you fancy. So I have already made 2 leaves. Now I will show you in a moment how to make them, but as you can see we've got one longer one and one short one, so we're going to add another short one here. Now the chain that you'll need to do for the long one is 15 chains, and for the short one is 10 chains, and then you add 8 chains on top of that. So taking your leaf color, or I mean it doesn't have to be green, to be honest, it can be any color. Let your imagination run wild here. Insert the hook, and we're going to obviously go to the back of our flower, and this is attached so it sort of hangs down from this petal here. So I'm going to go to the other side. Now I have sewn in all the other ends. I have left these ends on because I'm going to be attaching this flower to my bag, so I will be using these ends to do that. You can of course sew them in and use another piece of yarn, but I was thinking, you know, this would be more efficient. So just so that you know, but of course you can sew them in and do your attachments and make it a keychain. So, you know, so many possibilities. So here into the center of our flower, we're going to try and look for a couple of strands. So don't just pick one strand. There we go. Look, I've got 3 strands on here. I think that will be perfect. So we're going to bring back the yarn, whichever way you can is fine in this situation here. I let go, but yeah, I've got it again. There we go. Voila. As long as it's connected, that's what we need. Okay. And now we're going to start chaining. So we need to chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's going to be the length, let me show you, of my little stalk here. Okay, so that's about the same length as where this leaf is. This one I did 15. And now I'm going to add another 8 to this chain. Those 8 are the ones that we're going to use for the leaf. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now we're going to skip one. Into the second chain we're going to do a single crochet. Into the next chain we're going to do a half double crochet. Into the next chain we're going to do a double crochet. Into the next chain we're going to do a treble crochet, so yarn over twice. Into the next chain we're going to do a treble crochet, so yarn over twice. Then into the next chain a double crochet. a half double crochet into the next location, a single crochet into the next location, and we possibly might have used 9 chains, but it doesn't matter really. Then I'm going to do a slip stitch into the next chain, then I'm going to turn, and with doing that slip stitch we sort of turned. Then I'm going to do here a single crochet into that chain there. So we're now going to be working our way back using the leftover strands. So single crochet, half double crochet, each time advancing to the next location. Now our 2 treble crochets, and as you will notice, you know, this one is a treble crochet and this one as well. Okay, so you put the same stitch on the other side. There we go. Then here is the location for a double crochet, a half double crochet, and then here, yeah, a single crochet or even just a slip stitch is fine. Okay, and then I tend to do another slip stitch sort of towards the middle there, and then you're positioned in a good location to start a row of slip stitches down the middle of your leaf. So you're just going to find locations to go into here, in between the stitches, near that middle of the leaf. So it looks like this. So we're creating like a vein almost. Well, yeah, we are creating a vein. There we go. And you work your way all the way back to the start of the leaf. Then I tend to go under this one here. I go into the chain as well, and I do another slip stitch just to bring it all together. There we go. That is our leaf. Let's cut off the yarn and sew in the end into the leaf itself. I hope you find this an interesting project. Please make it. I would love to see your colour choices. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!